Welcome back to Comic Cappers. Today we will be capping Absolute Flash number 2. With that said, grab a snack, sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. Wally is spiraling. The weight of the catastrophe at Project Olympus is crushing him, his internal monologue acting as a brutal judge and jury. He's convinced he's killed Barry, and the terror of his father, Colonel Wally West, coming for him is absolute. He snaps back to the present, his senses heightened and frayed. The fear is palpable, and even the smallest sound triggers a desperate, reflexive reaction. But his isolation is short-lived. The tactical team has tracked his energy signature, and that glowing green reticle is a death sentence for his solitude. The hunt is officially on. With the caverns fully mapped, the net is closing, and there is nowhere left for Wally to run. The tactical team is moving with cold, military efficiency. They've locked onto Wally's position, and they aren't just chasing him, they're corralling him, sealing off every possible exit to turn these caverns into a cage. But the mission isn't sitting well with everyone. Jesse is clearly rattled, sensing that something is deeply wrong with the nature of this operation. It's a moment of hesitation that highlights just how unnatural and dangerous Wally's situation has become. That hesitation is met with a sharp, dismissive rebuke. The team is here to do a job, and in their eyes, the only variable that doesn't fit the mission parameters is Jesse's own doubt. Suddenly, the trap snaps shut. Wally is spotted, and the pursuit goes from tactical to explosive. The hunt is fully engaged, and Wally is forced to bolt as the team closes in. Wally is spiraling. He's not a trained soldier. He's a terrified kid trapped in a cavern that's literally warping around him. His internal monologue is a frantic, broken plea. He just wants to go home, but the guilt of the Olympus explosion is clearly eating him alive. He's scrambling through the dark, his movements frantic and desperate. He keeps trying to justify the accident, swearing to himself that he didn't mean for this to happen. It's the sound of someone who knows their life has already ended, even if they're still running. Then, the reality of the hunt hits him. He's not alone. One of the tactical team members has intercepted his path, weapons drawn and ready. The tension snaps from internal panic to immediate life-or-death confrontation, and that's when the dam breaks. Wally's power, this erratic, uncontrollable energy, erupts in a blinding, violet-hued surge. He's not just moving fast, he's tearing the air around him to pieces, and the sheer scale of the release is terrifying. The tactical team is completely blindsided. Wally isn't just running, he's creating a chaotic, violent distortion of space that leaves the operatives scrambling for their lives. Realizing their standard tactics are useless against this level of raw, destructive power, the team is forced to retreat. They're clearly out of their depth, admitting they don't even know what to call the thing Wally has become. Inside the blur, Wally's internal monologue is chilling. He's not fighting the team, he's fighting his own biology. He's always sensed something was off, but the explosion has pushed him to a breaking point where his physical form feels like it's literally coming apart at the seams. It's a desperate, frantic realization. He's trapped in a loop of pure kinetic agony. To Wally, movement isn't just an escape, it's the only thing keeping his body from shattering into a million pieces. He's terrified that if he stops, he'll cease to exist entirely. The tactical team closes in, their tech buzzing with lethal intent. They've cornered Wally, and they are done playing around, treating this scared kid like a dangerous asset that needs to be brought in by any means necessary. Inside Wally's head, the trauma is absolute. He's spiraling, convinced he's beyond redemption and physically shattered by the energies coursing through him. He's not fighting the team anymore, he's fighting his own body's collapse. It's a desperate, final instinct. The walls of his reality are buckling, and the only thing Wally knows for sure is that he has to keep moving. If he stops, he breaks. Wally's internal scream finally breaks the surface. As the containment field ruptures and the raw, kinetic energy of the Speed Force tears through the environment, he isn't just fleeing anymore, he's unraveling. He's completely isolated in his agony, cast out from everything he knows, and in this moment of total catastrophic discharge, the only truth left is the crushing realization that he is truly alone. Amidst the chaotic, reality-tearing discharge of energy, Wally is caught in a mental lapse, screaming out for Barry Allen, a desperate plea for the man who was at the heart of the Project Olympus disaster. One of the tactical operatives attempts to bridge the gap, reaching out to the terrified teenager. It's a futile gesture, though, as Wally is already slipping beyond the reach of conventional containment. Reality continues to bleed out. Wally's voice breaks, his mind fracturing further as he struggles to even process the name of the scientist he's so desperately clinging to in his memory. Then in the void, a silhouette emerges. Someone recognizes him. The pursuit has shifted from a tactical mission to a desperate, personal search for the boy who is currently tearing the world apart. Amidst the crackling, reality-tearing energy of the aftermath, a voice cuts through the chaos. It's a moment of pure, focused recognition as someone tracks down the source of the catastrophe. Colonel Ruddy West emerges from the haze, his silhouette looming over the wreckage. He locks eyes with Barry Allen, his voice cold and heavy with accusation. He doesn't see a scientist, he sees the man responsible for his son's destruction. Barry is completely on the defensive, stammering and desperate. He's pleading his innocence, trying to explain that the disaster at Project Olympus was beyond his control, but Ruddy isn't interested in excuses. The tension finally snaps into raw, physical violence. Ruddy lunges at Barry with terrifying speed and rage, driven by the singular, burning need to hold someone accountable for what has happened to Wally. Ruddy West isn't holding back. He's putting every ounce of his military frustration into a brutal strike against Barry Allen, his voice dripping with venomous finality. He follows through with the assault, making it crystal clear that this isn't just a physical fight, it's a reckoning for what happened to his son. Ruddy continues to dominate the exchange, his words slicing through the air as he labels Barry an arrogant menace who had no business playing God with Wally's life. Barry, reeling and clearly outmatched in this confrontation, can barely get a word out. He's defenseless physically and emotionally as Ruddy continues his relentless attack. Suddenly, the momentum shifts. The speed energy surrounding them flares, forcing them to break apart. They both look up, shocked, as the reality of their situation and the presence of something else finally hits them. Just as the tension reaches a breaking point, the energy surrounding Wally begins to coalesce into a haunting, distorted projection. He's reaching out through the chaos, his voice thin and fragile as he calls for his father. Ruddy West stands paralyzed, confronted by this terrifying, flickering manifestation of his son. The military man is forced to drop his guard, offering a desperate, hollow promise of safety to a boy who is clearly no longer entirely human. The situation spirals instantly. Wally is caught in a feedback loop of pure kinetic agony, his face contorted as if his very identity is being shredded by the speed force. Ruddy and the tactical team are desperate, trying to reach him, screaming for him to focus, but Wally is terrified of his own touch. He's begging them to stay back, fighting a losing battle against the energy that's literally tearing his reality apart. It's too late. The containment fails entirely. Wally screams for them to stay away as a massive, reality-warping discharge of energy erupts, physically blasting the men backward in a blinding, destructive shockwave. Following that massive kinetic discharge, Wally is left kneeling alone in the dust. The energy is still crackling around him, but the immediate, explosive intensity has faded into a haunting, static hum. He's disoriented, calling out into the silence for the two people he was just trying to protect, or perhaps the two men most responsible for his current nightmare. The tactical team emerges from the haze, shielded by a shimmering energy barrier. They're clearly rattled, looking at the aftermath of Wally's outburst with a mix of shock and irritation. They don't seem concerned for his well-being, they're just trying to process how close they came to being vaporized. Jesse, the team's resident skeptic, makes sure everyone knows exactly who saved their skin. While the team remains on high alert, Jesse's frustration is palpable, pointing out that this disaster was entirely predictable. The team's tactical arrogance is on full display, and it's clear that from this point on, they aren't going to be pulling any punches with Wally. Wally is trapped inside a containment sphere, rolling helplessly across the desert floor like a caged animal. The frantic energy of his powers is locked away, but it's clear he's reached a breaking point. Inside the bubble, Wally's face is a mask of pure desperation. He isn't fighting for freedom anymore, he's begging for a way to stop the carnage he's causing. The tactical team isn't buying his plea. They calmly explain exactly what's waiting for him at Fort Fox, a vivisection. They mention Mick Rory and that Raymond kid as cautionary tales, confirming this military unit has a history of tearing powered individuals apart. Wally's warning that he'll hurt someone if he isn't released falls on deaf ears. Suddenly, the containment field buckles. Wally's power, a violent red kinetic discharge, begins to tear through the reality of the bubble. The team realizes too late that they've pushed a cornered animal too far. As the energy screams, Glider snaps into action. With the containment failing and Wally losing all control, the team is forced into an immediate, desperate tactical response to contain the anomaly before he levels the entire area. Wally is in full flight, a blur of kinetic energy streaking across the desert horizon. He's not just running, he's desperate to escape the tactical team that has been hounding him since the explosion. Just as Wally thinks he's gained some distance, he's intercepted. A member of the tactical unit closes the gap with terrifying speed, reaching out to snag him. The operative is brimming with confidence, delivering a taunt that highlights exactly why this team is so dangerous. The confidence was misplaced. The moment the operative attempts to make contact, Wally's volatile energy detonates. It's an explosive, reality-distorting boom that sends the tactical member spiraling back, proving that Wally isn't just a runner, he's a walking catastrophe. Wally is trapped in a mental tug-of-war, his consciousness violently splintering. He's physically tearing through the desert, but his mind is anchored back in the nightmare of Barry Allen's lab, desperate for a stability he can no longer find. The trauma deepens as his mind retreats into a hauntingly perfect memory, a day at Wonder Island. It's a cruel contrast. His mother is alive, his father is present, and for a fleeting moment, Wally isn't a fragmented fugitive. He's whole. But the Speed Force won't let him rest. He's forced to confront the reality that he is broken, terrified, and fundamentally unable to stop running, leading to an even more destabilizing, reality-warping shift. As Wally's mind finally snaps under the pressure of his uncontrollable speed, he isn't just seeing memories, he's seeing the future. He stands high above a crowd, a beacon of kinetic energy, catching a glimpse of a world where he is celebrated, a hero in the light, but the vision instantly darkens. The Speed Force tears the image apart, revealing a horrific alternative, a broken, monstrous entity crackling with volatile energy amidst total devastation. Wally is left staring into the abyss, caught between two impossible destinies, and forced to ask the most terrifying question of his life. After that terrifying glimpse into two divergent futures, the kinetic feedback slams back into reality. Wally is physically thrown across the desert floor, his body buckling as the speed energy lashes out with violent intensity. He lies there, grounded but completely overwhelmed. The Speed Force is no longer just a tool, it's an infection, a chaotic, crackling aura that he can no longer suppress. He stares at his own hands, the raw panic in his eyes betraying the horrific realization that he is losing control of his own humanity. In the distance, the vast, empty desert underscores his isolation. He is small, broken, and dangerously unstable, left vulnerable in the dust as the tactical team watches on, cold and detached. The tactical team has officially reached their breaking point. Standing in the harsh desert, the mission commander decides that standard containment is no longer cutting it. He orders his subordinate to open the hatch, signaling the end of their half measures. One of the operatives hesitates, his finger hovering over the control panel. He knows exactly what lies behind that door, and the danger is palpable. He questions the order, but the reality of their situation leaves no room for debate. With the command given, the heavy door slides open to reveal the terrifying, cosmic instability that Wally has become. The team realizes they are completely out of their depth, and there is only one option left to stop him. The order is final, call in Grodd. The tactical team's desperate gamble to contain Wally West has finally been unleashed. The containment door slides open, and instead of a weapon we get this, a terrifying, green, hyper-intelligent primate emerging from the shadows. With his exposed brain and unsettlingly human gaze, Gorilla Grodd makes his entrance. He doesn't look like a mindless beast, but rather something far more calculated and sinister. He poses a single, chilling question, and with that, the issue cuts to black. The hunt for Wally just got a whole lot deadlier. And that unfortunately concludes our comic cap for today. With Wally completely shattered and vulnerable in the desert, do you think Gorilla Grodd is being used as a weapon to stop him? Or is the tactical team about to lose control of the monster they just unleashed? Let me know your answer in the comments section down below. Be sure to subscribe and press that notification bell for daily comic caps. Until next time, take care, brush your hair, I'll see you when I see you, peace.